beloved seekers, let us venture beyond the confines of what the eyes perceive, beyond the limits of the mind's grasp, into a realm where darkness is not emptiness, but fullness, a vast expanse glowing with a mysterious, sacred light. This is the luminous void, a paradox that challenges the very way we understand reality. It is a space where absence becomes presence, where what appears as emptiness holds within it the seed of all creation, the source of every illumination. In this sacred darkness, the soul is invited to rest, not in fear, but in trust. For it is in the silence of the void that the deepest truths reveal themselves, not as loud proclamations, but as gentle whispers to the heart. Like the night sky, seemingly void of light, yet bursting with stars, so too does the luminous void shine with an inner radiance that only those who surrender to its mystery can behold. Here, the soul sheds the distractions of the world and encounters its essence, the eternal light that no shadow can extinguish. This black light is not darkness that blinds, but a profound illumination that opens the eyes to the invisible, to the eternal, and to the divine presence that permeates all. It is a light born not of the sun, but of silence and stillness, a flame that burns quietly in the depth of being. Embrace this paradox, dear friends. Let go of the need to control or to understand fully, and step courageously into the void. For it is there, in the luminous darkness, that your soul's true light awaits, waiting to be known, to shine, and to guide you beyond all fear and illusion. How strange it seems at first, the notion that light, the very essence of clarity and vision, could be black. How can that which illuminates be shrouded in darkness? Yet, in the deepest recesses of the soul, beyond the surface of appearances, there lies a light unseen by eyes that seek only brightness. This light is neither harsh nor glaring. It is a black light, a silent radiance, a hidden flame that burns without smoke or flame. It is not the light of day that scatters shadows, but the light of the void that gathers all shadows into a perfect unity, revealing what is most profound by concealing it from the ordinary gaze. In the vastness of the night, the sky appears as a canvas of darkness, a great expanse of blackness that stretches beyond the horizon. Yet, for the heart attuned to its depths, this darkness is not absence, but presence, an embrace that holds the countless stars in its silent care. These stars, though small and distant, pierce the void with their luminous song, reminding us that darkness itself is not emptiness, but a stage for illumination. The void, with its seeming nothingness, holds everything within it, like a womb containing the potential of all life and all light. In our worldly lives, we have learned to fear the dark, to flee from silence, to fill emptiness with noise and distraction. How many times have we fled from the moments when our minds grow still, when our hearts feel the absence of certainty? Yet, it is precisely in these moments, in the stillness, in the silence, in the dark, that the soul is invited to awaken. For it is only when the clamor subsides that the true light may emerge, like the sprout pushing through soil untouched by the sun. Consider the seed buried deep beneath the earth, hidden in darkness, unseen, and untouched by the light of day. It rests in silence, seemingly lifeless, yet within it is the promise of new life. It is in the darkness that the seed gathers strength, prepares itself for the moment when it will break free and reach toward the sun. The black light is such a darkness, fertile, alive, charged with possibility. It is not a void of despair, but a sanctuary of becoming, where the soul is nurtured and transformed in secret. This light does not dazzle or blind. It is a quiet illumination that reveals the depths of the heart. It is the light of truth that shines not outward but inward, showing the seeker the path beyond the illusions of the visible world. It calls us to surrender the desire for constant clarity, for endless explanation, and to rest instead in the mystery that underlies all things. To walk this path is to embrace uncertainty and to find comfort in the unknown. Many have feared the night, have sought to fill their lives with light that is only surface deep. Yet the true light, the black light, cannot be found in things that glisten or glitter, but in the spaces between, in the silence between words, in the emptiness between moments. It is the light that holds all contradictions, that unites all opposites, and from which all forms arise and return. To dwell in this black light is to know a freedom beyond fear. It is to realize that the void we fear is not the absence of God or truth, but the very presence of the divine hidden from our limited sight. The luminous void is the soul's sanctuary, where the self is stripped bare and reborn, where light and darkness become one, and where the deepest transformation takes place. So, when you find yourself surrounded by darkness, whether in your heart, your mind, or your life, remember that it is not an enemy, but a friend, a sacred space where the greatest light may emerge. In the blackness, there is a secret radiance, a light that does not fail, a light that reveals the unseen and awakens the soul to its infinite depth. Embrace the invisible. Welcome the paradox. For it is there, in the fertile void, that your true light awaits to be born. To enter the void is to embark on a journey not of losing oneself, but of uncovering what lies beneath the countless veils of illusion that bind the soul. We often believe that emptiness is a loss, a hollow place where identity slips away into nothingness. Yet, this emptiness is a sacred sanctuary, a vast and quiet space where the ego, with its endless chatter and demands, gradually dissolves. In this quiet dissolution, the soul finds breath, finds room to expand beyond the narrow confines of selfhood as the world knows it. Here, the light that shines is not borrowed from the outer world. It is kindled from the depths within, born not of struggle, but of surrender, born of a trust so deep it knows no hesitation. Imagine a traveler wandering the desert under the cloak of night. The blazing sun has long since vanished beyond the horizon, and the vast sands stretch endlessly into darkness. Yet the traveler is not lost, for though the path is unclear, the faint glimmer of distant stars guides the way. The wind, cool and steady, whispers truths the traveler cannot yet name. This guidance is subtle and uncertain. It asks for faith rather than certainty, courage rather than control. The traveler learns to follow this quiet light is to embrace mystery itself, to walk forward into the unknown without the safety of firm ground beneath the feet. Our hearts are such deserts, vast and often frightening in their silence and stillness. We clutch at the known, at the illusions of control and certainty, even when these bring only suffering. Yet the true journey inward demands that we release these grasping hands and step willingly into the darkness. The void within us becomes the very sanctuary where our true self, long hidden under layers of false identity and distraction, begins to emerge. In this sacred emptiness, wounds find space to breathe and mend. The pain we carry, the grief, the loss, the betrayals are not denied or erased, but held gently in the embrace of the void. Here, sorrow is alchemized into wisdom, suffering into understanding. This transformation is not quick or easy, but it is profound, for it takes place in the heart's deepest chamber where the soul dares to meet itself fully without defense. The void is not a barren place, but a fertile ground where love awakens. Not the love that clings or demands, but a boundless compassion that flows freely, a love that sees beyond the surface and touches the essence of all beings. This love arises spontaneously when the ego's barriers fall away, when the self no longer fears emptiness, but welcomes it as the doorway to union. Each soul carries within it a luminous core, a spark of divine presence that neither time nor hardship can extinguish. This light is veiled by the distractions of the world, by the noise of fear and desire, yet it remains steadfast, waiting patiently for the moment we choose to still ourselves and listen. When we enter the void, when we embrace silence and emptiness, this core begins to shine forth with clarity and power. It is in this place that true self-discovery happens, not the self shaped by society or circumstance, but the essence that is eternal and unchanging. The void teaches us that identity is not something to be grasped tightly, but something to be released and found anew in every breath of surrender. So, when you feel lost in the darkness of your own heart, when the path ahead is hidden and you tremble with fear, remember the traveler in the desert. Trust the quiet stars and the whispering wind. Let the void be your sanctuary, the sacred space where the old self falls away and the true self awakens, radiant and free. In this emptiness, you will find the light that no darkness can overcome, the luminous core of your being, eternal and whole. There is a place unseen by the eye and untouched by the senses, where the human soul and the divine meet in silent communion. This place is not found in brightness or in the clamor of the visible world, but in the profound stillness of the luminous void. A black light that is neither absence nor shadow, but the very essence of presence itself. It is the silent witness within the heart, a light that transcends form, time, and all dualities. This black light does not dazzle like the sun nor sparkle like the stars. Rather, it holds a quiet power that embraces all, even the darkness we so often fear. It teaches us that God is not only in the radiant light we long for, but also in the deep darkness we avoid. Consider the oyster beneath the waves, hidden in the depths of the sea. It is not the sunlight above that forms the pearl, but the patient endurance of irritation and suffering over time, a grain of sand, intrusive and unwelcome, becomes the catalyst for a transformation so beautiful that it is treasured above all else. The pearl is born not of ease or comfort, but from the void of hardship and silence, from the slow alchemy of pain and patience. So too, the divine pearl of enlightenment is shaped within the void of our deepest trials, in those moments when the soul endures suffering and silence without resistance. Science, too, reveals mysteries that echo this ancient wisdom. Even in the vast darkness of space, where no light seems to reach, energy pulses endlessly. The cosmos is not an empty void, but a womb teeming with unseen forces and luminous potential. This black light, this void is not lifeless or barren. It is the very source of existence, the cradle from which all creation springs forth. When we learn to dwell in this sacred presence, we begin to see that the void is not something to fear or flee from. Instead, it is filled with infinite mercy, compassion, and love, qualities that transcend human understanding and touch the heart of the divine. To dwell in this black light is to know a profound peace, even amid turmoil. It is to realize that the presence of God is not confined to moments of joy or clarity, but is found also in our darkest hours. When grief overwhelms, when hope seems lost, when the self feels most broken, the black light does not abandon us in these moments. Instead, it enfolds us with a compassionate embrace, whispering truths that cannot be spoken in the light of day. It reveals that within the depths of our despair lies the seed of divine presence, quietly growing and waiting to bloom. This luminous void calls us to trust beyond our fears, to recognize that the divine is woven into every thread of our existence, even those that seem frayed or torn. It invites us to surrender to the mystery, to open our hearts to the unseen light that shines through the darkness. In this surrender, we find that the black light is not emptiness, but fullness, the fullness of being held, known, and loved without condition. Thus, the black light becomes the sacred mirror reflecting the unity of all things. It dissolves the boundaries between self and other, between the human and the divine. In its depths, we come to see that what we call God is not separate from us, nor confined to the heavens, but alive within the silent spaces of our hearts. The luminous void is the meeting place where we find ourselves truly at home, in the presence of a love that neither fades nor fails, a light that shines eternally beyond all shadows. How does one live within the luminous void, this sacred space where light and darkness merge, where silence speaks louder than words, and where the soul finds its true home? It begins not with grand gestures or distant retreats, but with the simple, courageous act of embracing stillness amid the relentless noise of our lives. In a world that races ceaselessly toward distraction, the luminous void calls us to pause, to breathe deeply, and to welcome the silence that often feels foreign and uncomfortable. This stillness is no empty nothingness. It is the fertile ground where transformation quietly unfolds. We live in times of constant change, of loss and uncertainty. To walk the path of the void is to learn to welcome these moments, not as enemies to be feared or resisted, but as profound teachers shaping our spirit. When a job is lost, a relationship ends, or a dream slips through our fingers, we are invited to enter the void, the space between what was and what will be, where the old self dies and the new self patiently waits to be born. This space may seem barren at first, a desert of despair, yet it is precisely here that life stirs beneath the surface, waiting for the moment to break forth with renewed strength. Consider the story of a woman who, in a single night, lost everything she held dear to a violent storm. Her home shattered, her possessions swept away, her sense of safety shattered like fragile glass. In the wreckage of her life, she found herself alone in a silence deeper than any she had known. Fear and grief rose within her like a tempest, threatening to consume all hope. Yet, in that profound emptiness, she discovered a quiet place inside herself where fear no longer held dominion. In that sanctuary of the void, a new light began to grow, a light born of surrender, resilience, and an awakening grace. From this sacred emptiness, she rebuilt not only her life, but her spirit, stronger and more compassionate than before. In this way, the luminous void is not a distant ideal, but a living reality accessible in each moment of our daily lives. It is the gentle pause we take when overwhelmed by anxiety, the deep breath we draw when lost in confusion, the quiet presence we cultivate when grief or uncertainty shadows our path. It asks us to trust the unseen light within, the guiding spark that does not falter even when the world seems darkest. To live in the void is to embrace a paradox, to find fullness in emptiness, strength in surrender, and clarity in uncertainty. It is to know that every ending holds the seed of a new beginning, that every silence carries the promise of a song yet to be sung. The luminous void teaches us patience, for transformation is not hurried but unfolds according to its own divine rhythm. Imagine the seasons turning, each leaf falling in its appointed time, not clinging to the branch, but releasing with grace. The void teaches us this sacred timing, inviting us to let go of what no longer serves us, trusting that the cycle of loss and renewal is held in the hands of a loving presence greater than ourselves. In the busy moments of our lives, when demands press and fears arise, the luminous void calls us back to center, to that silent witness within us that watches without judgment and holds us in mercy. This is the heart of the teaching made practical, a daily return to stillness, to trust, to the embrace of what is, even when it is difficult. So when life shakes you to your core, when the storms rage and the future feels uncertain, remember the luminous void. Step into the silence with courage and know that in that sacred space, new life waits, waiting to rise, waiting to shine, waiting to fill your heart with a light that no darkness can ever extinguish. Beloved seekers, the luminous void calls not as a menace, but as a profound blessing, a sacred womb cradling the birth of the soul's awakening. It is in this dark embrace, paradoxical yet radiant, that the black light reveals its deepest mystery. That within the depths of seeming emptiness, a brilliance unknown to the eyes of the world begins to glow with unyielding power. This void is no place of abandonment or loss, but the fertile ground where transformation takes root, where the impossible becomes possible, and where the soul's true journey unfolds beyond all limits. When the world around you fades into shadows, and the heart is heavy with loneliness or fear, recall this truth. The very void you shrink from is the sacred chamber where your innermost light is born. It is the silent space where the self, stripped of pretense and distraction, meets the essence of existence itself. Though the darkness may seem vast and unyielding, it is a darkness that carries within it the seed of infinite light, an eternal flame that neither time nor trial can ever consume. Step into this darkness with courage. Let go of the clinging to what is known and certain, and embrace the unknown with open arms. In this surrender lies the secret of true strength. The strength that does not resist, but flows, that does not grasp, but releases. The luminous void is not a place to flee from, but to enter willingly, for it holds the keys to a freedom deeper than any worldly promise. In this sacred emptiness, all illusions fall away like autumn leaves, revealing the heart's purest light beneath. It is here that the soul, once burdened by fear and sorrow, finds rest. Here, love awakens in its most profound form. Compassion that extends without limit, mercy that heals the deepest wounds, and joy that transcends circumstance. Know that you are not alone in this journey. The void is a universal path walked by countless souls, each discovering anew that the darkness is but the veil before the dawn. It is in the stillness of the void that the divine whispers, inviting you into a dance of light and shadow where all opposites unite in perfect harmony. So when you feel lost, when the weight of life presses heavy, do not turn away. Instead, breathe deeply and listen to the silence. Let it speak to you of mysteries beyond words, of a light that shines in the blackness, and a love that never fades. The luminous void is waiting, not to consume you, but to reveal you, not to end your story, but to begin it anew. Take this invitation into your heart. Walk bravely into the night of your soul and discover the eternal flame within, an unquenchable light that shines beyond all darkness, forever radiant, forever free.